Does education guarantee you're going to make any money? Does it increase your options? Y'all remember, success is options. If y'all don't remember anything else I tell y'all, success is options. Whatever you do, ask yourself, is it going to increase your options or decrease your options?
Okay, I'm Dr. Gregory Salters. Currently, I am a major with Fort Lauderdale Police Department. I've been there, January will be approximately 25 years. And I have been able to work through the ranks there with the police department, and some would say I've reached some level of success. But I guess the interesting thing about me is that when I grew up, I never wanted to be a police officer. My father was not really much into law enforcement, and that was not something looked upon highly in the family. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a household with both parents. And when we did a lot of moving, my father worked with the Department of Agriculture, USDA, as an auditor. And so I never forget when I was growing up, the movie Mississippi Burning, when the individuals had to leave, the father said that, hey, you could kind of remember some of those times when you're going in as a black male and auditing some of the things and some of the tensions that you have in certain neighborhoods. But I didn't really understand it till I got much older, some of the things my father shared with me growing up. I was born in Atlanta, like I like to say, before it was hot Atlanta. So we were there in the community. My dad would travel during the week and come home on the weekends on his audits. Then we moved to Wheaton, Maryland, and I've largely lived in middle-class, white, mixed communities. So I like to tell everybody that was the way I grew up, in middle-class white America. And then when we moved from Wheaton, Maryland to Alexandria, Louisiana, that was a culture shock. It was a little bit different there. I've had the race issues that I dealt with in Maryland. I've had race issues in Louisiana, and that wasn't until, like I said, a lot of times when you relive some of the things that you've gone through and some of the experiences that you really kind of try to dissect them and deconstruct what actually happened. In fifth grade, a lot of black males don't like to read. I wasn't one that really enjoyed reading. So my fifth grade teacher, Miss Faye Hall, gave me some books and she made me read. The first book was Hero Ain't Nothing But a Sandwich. And she made me read that book, and she was a teacher that really pushed me. She saw things in me that I hadn't seen in myself. And I appreciate her for that. You know how you get pushed and you go into a classroom and you know that you're in the wrong classroom because you know all the smart kids in there? She had me with that experience. And then as you get older, when I was in high school, I had some teachers there that really pushed me. I had Mr. Brady, I had Mr. Art Visconti. He was an Italian brother that really was teaching us and was saying that we need to learn things by rhythm. He said, Italians and blacks, we have rhythm. And he was one of those that really would break the lesson down to where we needed to, and that's where you got to the rhythm, the medulla oblongata and the cerebellum. And we're like, okay, so what is that? Y'all just know the parts of the brain. So you just had it to rhythm. So he was able to do that and bring that different light to us. So I had those teachers that came in. Then at Florida A&M, all of those teachers that are there that really cared about you and pushed you, and classmates. In my freshman year there, I never forget, I went to a meeting and we had professional development. And I went to the meeting and I had on jeans and a t-shirt, a white t-shirt. And that was Dr. Johnson. He said, son, why are you here in an undershirt? And you know, I'm a freshman, I'm just coming there, I'm thinking it's right. He says, there's a reason they call that an undershirt. It's supposed to go under a shirt. And so you have people pouring into you like that. Those things begin to happen. And when I joined the fraternity, and you're in a group of men that are out there getting their educations and moving forward and understanding that we have to set a standard. There's a certain standard. And there's no excuses in these. There are no excuses ever being accepted. I was always taught to work hard, respect others, get a good grades, get a good education, get a good job. And what happened, I attended Florida A&M University, my father's alma mater, graduated with a degree in business, started working in banking, started having stressors in banking, creating some minor health problems. Because you'd be working hard, doing what accountability would say. You look at the numbers, and I was producing, but I didn't seem to be having success that I saw or perceived others were having, and that was creating some issues. Therefore, I was recruited out of banking into insurance and financial planning. I've owned my own insurance and financial planning company. And when I was out there doing insurance and financial planning, a friend of mine, I'm a member of Alpha Phi fraternity, and it was a fraternity brother of mine that told me about the opportunities in law enforcement. I'd never considered them.
Y'all know at some schools, talks like we're having now are done on a regular basis, getting individuals to dig deep into themselves and realize that they're leaders and deal with a lot of success talks. But if we don't have these kind of talks, it will make theory kind of boring because you have to bring those other things into play.
So when a friend of mine told me about the opportunity, I fit the criteria, but I was still very reluctant, and because police officers weren't looked upon, respected very highly in the community and with my friends, so it's kind of, you're gonna become the man. So how do you navigate that? What do you do? But growing up, my father had always told me, go out there, hit somebody, do something, have great grades, and stay out of trouble. Individuals must be true to themselves. And a lot of my clients that I consult with now about their success and their career and their aspirations, I say, do you really have a vision and mission statement? And my vision and mission statement is, if I can help somebody as I pass along the way, my living will not be in vain, by Dr. Martin Luther King. So when I started analyzing things and I looked at law enforcement, will it allow me to do that? And it was truly a profession that allows me to go in and positively impact the community, and you can kind of show individuals what actually the career is about, the rewards of the career. And like any other career, you do have your trials and tribulations. One of my toughest assignments was working in internal affairs, because internal affairs takes the complaints against officers and investigates those. And that was a very tough job, because working in a predominantly white male-oriented profession, and you have the community coming to you stating that the cops are doing things to us, the cops are racially profiling, using excessive force. The community is like, well, is he going to be your quote-unquote Uncle Tom because he's one of them? Then you have the guys that are working for the agency that's saying, wait a minute, he's one of them, so he's going to be looking to basically not give us a fair and objectionable chance because he's black. So it's kind of like you're walking right in the middle. And that is also kind of what spurred me on with my dissertation. And in the dissertation, I investigated the impact of racial profiling on black males seeking jobs in law enforcement and committing to law enforcement careers. Because if you have tickets or arrest, that doesn't help you get most jobs. And we only talk about it from an actual tangible aspect, and we really don't talk about it from a mental aspect. And some research that's out there has been talking about a lot of black males are really suffering from the symptoms that can be the PTSD, dealing with the stresses and the strains that we're put under and we go through, but many people don't quite understand that. So while I grew up, I like to remind people, I was a black male long before I was in law enforcement. When I don't have on the uniform, people still look at me as a black male, and we have to understand and negotiate that. So I have an interesting time talking to people about what it means or what my experiences are, and then also communicating to the community. The law enforcement is here and is a needed and is a tremendously rewarding profession, but I think we have to learn to connect more with our community, and our community has to connect more with us so that we can get further along as a society.
As we've been having this talk today, have I piqued your intellect? Have you been thinking about things? Yeah. This is what we're talking about. You mentioned inspiration and motivation. I'm getting to you all. Inspiration is internal. Motivation is external. A lot of times I say that motivation gets you going, but the inspiration keeps you going.
I would say one of the biggest influences I've had has been my dissertation chair, Dr. Tonette Rocco. With Dr. Rocco, when I was going to get the doctorate, it wasn't anything that was going to get me any more promotions, anything, money. So it was very easy to be able to quit at any particular time because I wouldn't have lost anything. But she saw a lot in me that I didn't see. She pushed me to do what I needed to do. She dealt with a lot of the baggage that I had before, because many of us, as we've gone through educational systems, and you may have been either consciously or unconsciously negatively impacted by some people that are, I would say they aren't educators dealing with a holistic individual. They're teachers that are teaching a subject matter. They kind of detracted and wanted to take me off because long years ago they used to tell me I write like I talk. So therefore it kind of caused me not to want to write. But Dr. Rocco says, now that's the way we want you to write. I want you to write like you talk. And she pushed and provides that support and that tough love, didn't pull any strings. And so those are some of the things that have really been there, that have opened my eyes, because I didn't have anyone close to me who had a doctorate that I could talk to about that. And many times if you don't have a mentor or someone that you can reach out and touch, it kind of makes things, you don't know what you don't know, so you don't know to even go towards it, which works opposite for the black male in terms of athletics. Many black males know someone that made it to whatever level they consider successful in sports. And that's why when they say black males are lazy, black males work tremendously hard for what it is that they want when you can show them the value. Because if you don't believe they work hard, go to any football, basketball, or athletic field and see how they're working. That is a true work ethic to be an athlete. It would be amazing if we had that same paradigm in education.
I'm a success coach. So I get with individuals, how do you find success? I say success is optional, but everybody has different goals. So how can I bring out of you what's already there? Because one thing about a coach can't bring out of you what's not already in you. If it's not in you, they can't get it. But what does a coach do? They bring out of you what's really in you.
Paul Bear Bryant, when he was a quarterback, when he was a coach at Alabama, they went over there and they played football, and he started running that option offense. And so he had it. It was a running option. You knew all you had to do was figure out what was the count going to be, 1, 2, or 3, because you know they're running the option. And what I like so much about the option play is that when you're the quarterback, and many of us are the quarterbacks in our lives, what do we do when we have that ball? If you're in it as a true leader and you're having influence and you're trying to truly win the game and improve society, you may get hit, but did you pass the ball off to somebody else so we can still score? And my other, I guess you would say my motto is that success is options. So what you have to do is go out and create options. So every decision that you make, is it creating options or decreasing your options? Because when you're running that option offense and your life is an option offense, no one can stop you.